What is going on, everybody? I hope my mics are on. Welcome to Breakdown with Bond. In this season of the rebrand, right? We used to have this community used to be called the Boss Bod Academy. And then I quickly dropped that whole boss bod thing and went more into like my soft girl feminine era. Let's manifest and let's get in touch with our intuition, and me teaching women how to do like mind muscle connection, breath work, and really feeling their body was like a segue and a doorway, a portal, if you will, to helping them understand chakras and understand the actual power in this vessel that is their body. So it's been an interesting journey. And right now, due to everything that's going on, I am in my progressive woke era. It's not so much an era as it is like, this is who I am, and now it is safe, and not only safe, but imperative that I speak about some of these things that we're all watching happen before us. Because there's so many influencers, there's so many personalities that are not talking about stuff that is important. So I feel like it's cool for me to be vocal on my personal page and on Siobhan Speaks Social in places where we're expected to talk about that. But I want to take it a step further and but definitely make a way in the fitness space for these conversations to happen. Because after all, this whole thing is about more than fitness. This is about a holistic approach to personal development, a holistic approach to healing, because your healing journey is physical, but it's also spiritual and mental. So that, in a nutshell, setting you guys up for what we're going to be talking about today, which is conscious consumption under capitalism, which is something a lot of hardcore, let's say socialist, hardcore leftists would say that's not possible. If you're like, what the are you talking about, coach? Conscious consumption, or maybe it's ethical consumption under capitalism, says that because of how capitalism is built on the foundation of exploiting people, right? Like the beautiful capitalistic state of America was built on the backs of slaves. It was built by genocide to Native Americans, a trail of tears. Like it is just horrific. And so everything from that foundation, someone's getting hurt. Nestle, harmless bar. Y'all know the children in Africa that are working for pennies on a dollar. Oh, iPhones or smart cars, which are green. Yes, but where do they get their batteries from? And so like at the top of it, Walmart, low prices, great, but like sweatshops. So that's what they mean by there's no such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism. And so me sitting here as an independent small business owner, health coach, someone that like works for the people, right? That is one of the few people, not few, but few, one of the few people in this industry that is in it because this is where my heart is, to serve people. And I can also make money while doing it versus, hey, I can make money becoming a fitness coach. And I look good, so I'll be able to do good, right? That's the extent of a lot of people's passions or reason to want to train. Well, I look good, so I want everybody else to pay me and to look up to me and tell, stroke my ego, which is why a lot of people become trainers. Also, the reason why a lot of people become business owners, politicians. You see where I'm going, how these things are interconnected. We have to learn how to see how these systems show up in ways that isn't just so obvious. Like, well, I'm not going to support that company, Amazon, because they don't give their people breaks. Cool, but let's take it a step further. You can take it a step further. Before I go any further, I just want to let you guys know that I'm not here to shame anyone who still shops at Walmart or Amazon, because again, you have to do that. This is the whole point of conscious consumption, is that we get to do what we can with where we can. So there are some of us who will not support Amazon, and there are some of us who are like still on Amazon but are in the streets protesting. So it's like, do what you can with where you're at, and that is probably like the hallmark of any sort of fitness advice that I'd give anyone, which is do what you can with where you're at. So in this post that I just made about conscious consumption under capitalism, I was talking about how I used my kids' birthdays and holidays as an example. When times were hard, if I didn't have a lot of money and birthday and holiday time, I turned it into an experience. Instead of trying to shower my kid in presents or shower them with this big birthday party, and then I'm exhausted and I don't have the money for it and I got to work double so I can have money for this thing I didn't have money for, why not just turn it into like a family vacation and turn it into a family experience? So like during the holidays, instead of going ham and buying all these toys, they're just going to end up under the bed or me stepping on them and they never use them year after year. I started to catch on. I was like, I'm going broke trying to make presents rain out from the Christmas tree, right? As soon as they open those presents, they're just sitting around looking bored on Christmas Day. I hate that shit. So, but also I wanted to do something. So I had a lot of friends that worked at the parks at the time. This is before I did. So every year I would get tickets to either SeaWorld, Disney, Universal, and go see their Christmas shows, the Grinchmas, go see whatever SeaWorld has going on ice that year, Polar Express. Like we always did something that would last longer than just that moment. So yeah, I'm dishing out hundreds of dollars, but it's not just for this toy that you're going to lose interest in. This is a family trip. This is an experience that we're always going to remember. And it's, it's something, it's lasting effects. So in this time of hardship that a lot of us are in, we got more, taxes are higher, pay is down, your rent is up, and just everything costs more. So it's rather than be like, okay, well, my health is going to go on the back burner until Trump's out of office, or my health is going to go on the back burner until, I don't know, some miracle falls out the sky and I just magically start making more money, have more time, and have more discipline. It's not going to happen. So rather than do that, we get to practice the same level of conscious consuming as I showed you in that example, right? So rather than, let's say your health is not so great right now, like maybe you need to see a doctor, maybe you have high blood pressure, maybe you get your cardio output is not so great, maybe diabetes runs in your family, maybe you're fatigued, whatever it is. You feel like the fix to these problems is going to cost you thousands of dollars. And so you don't start on them. You don't try to do anything about it because you think it's too big. However, there are small steps that you can take, but then there's also things that you can do that would make more sense for your investment. Like, rather than, let's say and I talked about this before about the PDFs, let's say you bought a $25 PDF online because whatever. And just like my son's toys, you looked at it once, you're like, oh my gosh, this is bright, this is pretty, yay, it's my favorite influencer. Yeah, and you feel good in that moment because you bought something and you've invested in what you're going to do. But the problem is that you're not going to come back to it, kind of like those toys under the bed. And then that's lame, right? Until then, it's just kind of like wasted money. Whereas let's say, and nobody's selling sessions for $25, but let's say you took that same $25 and you instead invested it in a trainer who you saw only maybe once a month, but that one time a month, you got workouts in between then, and you have someone checking in on you, holding you accountable and doing the things that you actually need, even if it's not once a week for an hour, twice a week for an hour, 3 times an hour, even if it's once a month for 30 minutes, you at least have someone who is looking over you, paying attention and making sure that you are on your P's and Q's. So that's one example. Whereas the PDF and the toys, or let's say the Frappuccino that you get at the end of the day because it's been a hard day and you want to self-soothe, that once it's gone, but those calories get to stay. But that moment of bliss that you had while you were drinking that thing, it did not last, and that's kind of it. And that sucks, but that's what it is. And that's what we do. And that's not the most conscious way to spend your money, especially if we're all running around talking about how broke we are. So another example, I think, so we did the food, we did the quick PDFs. I feel like there was one other thing that me and corporations don't mix well. They do great. They do great things, some of them. As a whole, kind of like their church, they're not all bad. They start with good intentions, small businesses, whatever, and then they grow, and then they blow, and then they grow, and then they blow up, and then they lose sight, or they don't keep their integrity. Publix, Chick-fil-A, and Target, it's always boggled my mind how those 3 companies have managed to somehow keep their integrity while everybody else is just selling their soul for the gold as fast as possible. So when it comes to conscious consumption with your fitness, think about the fact that there are so many smaller gyms, independent gyms, people like myself who are super passionate about what they do, that open up their own places. And the thing with that is that you get weird people, you could have a weird business owner and maybe not want to work out with them and their group of people. So then you kind of got to find your culture, find your community. But with that said, God, I hope the mic is on. Okay. But with that said, when I think of where I want my money to go, I think about the company. And when I went into EOS, they have signs that talk about inclusivity. They have the wheelchair sign for the men and the women when you're going to the locker room, because they understand that not everybody is able-bodied, so they're not ableist. And when I see that word, I read albeist. I know that's not the same word. Anywho, the other thing is that they have a bathroom that's for everyone that says outhouse. It's whatever, just use the bathroom. And I remember seeing those in California for the first time in 2018, and I was like, I love that. So that's me being conscious. I have a big box gym membership. It's at EOS, but it's because that gym has practices like that. And I see a lot of people that look like me that not only go there, but that work there. So for me, that kind of gives me an idea of what their culture is like. And so as much as am not a big fan of corporations, if I have to frequent one, I want to try to frequent the ones that I know at least or do have some kind of positive impact on my community. On the other hand, you could take it a step further, like I was saying before, and maybe look for smaller independent gyms that are around. You'd be surprised. A lot of Anytime Fitnesses are franchises and like they're privately owned, or they're franchises, but like they're, they're franchisees. So a little less corporate, a little less like the big box model gym environment that you get from like a LA Fitness or like a Crunch or whatever popular gyms the rest of the nation has. So for me, I think I would go out of my way to try to find, the same way that I try to find Black doctors and Black dentists, I go out of my way to find people who I want to put money in their pockets. And I don't just hire, she's Black, so I'm going to hire her. She's a female, so I'm going to hire her. I just shorten the pool down to where do I want my money to go? So if I'm looking up practitioners, coaches, whatever, and I've got this really highly decorated white man who probably doesn't have a lot of trouble getting clients, and then I have a woman of color over here who probably, like, her website, yes, I'm talking about myself, her website may not look as nice as his or whatever, but if they have similar experience, education, and or I just think this person is just as qualified as them, I'm going to go towards them, not just them, because the default for so long has been them. They are the default. And this is something that I've had a hard time articulating without sounding bitter, but it's the truth. Case in point, today I was in Canva trying to make my content, and as I was asking AI to create a video for me and I told it what to do, the women, like, first thing I told it, show me a little Black boy trying to get toys from underneath his bed. And it started generating it. And then it was like, yeah, no, that violates our standards. So I look at the standards and I was trying to figure out like how. It wasn't discriminating. It wasn't derogatory. It wasn't sexual. It wasn't harassment. I literally just described a little boy's complexion. So then I tried brown boy and I think it did the same thing. And then finally I typed in African American and I got something. But here's the catch. When I'm doing this and I don't specify who the person is, the default is always a white person. Always. So when I'm talking about being conscious of your consumption, please understand that by them having the default, that means that they're already going to be pushed up in algorithms, already going to be pushed up in marketing, just because the vast majority of people look like them. So they know they're going to be looking for someone that looks like them. So you, as a woke or progressive or an ally or an advocate, this is your call to, when you're out shopping for everyday normal things. I'm not saying you have to laser focus on the Black community or the gay community or the queer or the disabled or the veteran or those of us whose names got wiped from the federal government. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is be aware. Notice if all of the options for whatever you're looking for look like you and you don't look like me, that maybe I get to be a little more conscious about where I spend my money and make sure. This is why DEI and affirmative action existed anyways, because of things like this, the disparities. It was supposed to match the disparities, supposed to make it so that we're just at the top always and ever. It's like, hey, let everybody else get a seat at the table, or let everybody else get a fair shot at being recognized, being seen, and having resources available to them. So that's what the whole episode, or that's what the whole conscious consumption was all about. And I would love to hear what you think. If you ever thought about it like this before, whether you think that I'm reaching, or maybe if I opened your eyes and put something that you'd never thought about in there. But last but not least, for my ladies in my community, because this is actually happening in my community. And I have not been talking to y'all like that. Like I've been talking like it's just a podcast. Some of y'all know everything I was just talking about. But for you guys, conscious consumption, this is a call to action for everyone wherever they're at. Whether you at a place where you're very comfortable with what you're doing, or maybe you've gotten stagnant, or maybe you found yourself justifying why you are wherever you are. This is just a call to action and a call to Jesus to kind of look at what you're doing. I think I'll end with this. I saw a quote that said something about your beliefs and your values. Like, you will get in life what your beliefs and your values are. So like, if you believe and value health, then the way you spend your money and spend your time, days and hours will reflect that. But if you say you value health, but you never get up and walk, you never drink your water, there's going to be some cognitive dissonance there. And there's no way that you can be someone who is consciously consuming, right? Like you're being conscious of how you spend your money if you aren't even sure about what is the truth that you want to align with. What is the consciousness that we want? So take a moment and self-reflect this Monday and ask yourself, like, what the hell are we even doing here? Do my actions line up with what I say I want? Do I say that I'm an advocate and an ally, but yet the majority of my money or hardly any of my money goes into these communities that I'm an advocate for? Something to think about. And again, this is in no way a call for you to just go spend money with Black businesses or female-owned businesses that give shitty products and shitty customer service. No, I'm just calling you to be a little bit more aware. Even like the last few clients that I've gotten were women who specifically said I was looking for a woman of color, local, and then so they made that their criteria, and that's how they found me. When I'm looking for people to do business with, one of my first criteria is a woman. If it's not a woman, I got my guard up. It doesn't mean I'm not going to work with them. I just definitely, that's my criteria, because we have been underserved since Abrahamic religions said that that's the way it was supposed to be. So anywho, or maybe even before that, we don't know, because they deleted her story and all we know is his story. My gosh, I sound so woke. Anywho, I hope that you guys got some value from today. And if you did, please leave a comment. Let me know leave a comment. Let me know what you got the most value from. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you subscribe, follow, share, so that more people can get this sort of fitness content and this perspective, not just rep sets and booty shots. And until next time, I will see you guys on the Breakdown with Bonds. Also, if you're on YouTube, let me know if you guys want me to start streaming this live over here. We're experimenting on Facebook Live for now, but we'll be, maybe making our way to YouTube Live soon and very soon. All right, peace.